Hey, what's up, Council? This is Chris the Primogen here, and I'm just going to make a little video here to talk about a topic that's been coming up a lot lately in a lot of comments to my videos, and people have been asking me this every now and then for quite a while, and I think I should just address it. A lot of people are wondering, like, will you run games for us? Do you do storytelling for other people? Or game mastering, or whichever term you prefer. And I know a lot of people liked Chicago Stories, which I ran with Huddy, Josh, and Harry and Kitsu a while back, which was set in Chicago by night, the latest edition of it. And I also ran Littlebrook over at the Onyx Path together with a lot of beautiful, amazing people. Had a great time doing it. I think we got like 27, 28 episodes out of that one. That was a weekly thing. And I've also been running games for my patrons for a while. Like I ran 5 Chronicles for, I would say, 5 months before I had to just kind of dial it back quite a bit. And now I've been running some one-shots during the summer with my patrons. And I'm making this video because more and more I'm starting to realize that I really don't like running games. I really don't like being a storyteller, which is a pity because I like telling stories. But I do consider making videos and talking about these things and even having seminars or holding classes, which I do as a teacher. I work as a teacher normally. It's different from being a storyteller. And the amount of stress and the amount of pressure I feel from myself, not from my players obviously, but from myself, is very much taking away the joy of running a game for me. I'm going to talk about that during this video. That's actually the topic of this video. I'm gonna try to not make it, it's not gonna get very heavy. I don't have any trauma or anything like that, and I don't want to make people feel bad for asking these things, and I especially don't want to make my players feel bad, because this is entirely up here. It's in my head. It doesn't have anything to do with the people I play with or the games I play. I thoroughly enjoy the World of Darkness. I love running games in the World of Darkness. For me, it's a matter of mental health. So I'm going to try to address it from the beginning, from when I was young, and try to go into like why this is such an issue for me. I'm very impressed and jealous of creators like Josh, Strange Adventures. I was going to say something completely different. Strange Adventures, Josh, Jersh is able to just produce these videos where he's talking to the camera and it's like he's got the script in his head. I could not do that. Like, as you can see right now, I'm stumbling over my words. I'm way more verbose in my lore videos because I make scripts and I read off the scripts. And part of that is performance anxiety, and part of that is I'm ESL. I'm not a native English speaker. I teach English, so I feel fairly confident in my ability to communicate. But when it comes to being like descriptive or narrative and things like that, I just struggle with English a lot, and I do a much better work when I'm writing. I also sometimes stutter. I've managed to work that away almost completely, but sometimes I get stuck stuttering, and I'm my own biggest critic by far. I have not received a comment to any of my videos as far as I know as being even close to the amount of criticism that I've given myself over the years. It's how I work. I'm a perfectionist, and I have high demand. I came to the realization a couple of years back that I, for example, cannot play competitive games, team-based games like Dota 2 or Overwatch. Well, I wouldn't play Overwatch now anyway. League of Legends, anything like that. I just can't with those games because I get so frustrated. I kind of regress in behavior to when I was younger in that regard. So I kind of cut that out of my life a lot. And even like performing in front of other people to me is very stressful, which is ironic since I work as a teacher. But teaching is an environment I feel more in control with. And I think that comes with experience. I've been teaching now for 12 years, 13 years almost. So I feel a little bit more comfortable in the classroom, but I still get kind of tense when I go into the classroom, and I sweat when I teach. This is a little TMI, but I get very sweaty. I almost never sweat otherwise, but I get very like high alert. It's very emotionally taxing for me to stand in front of other people. So I tend to avoid that on my free time a lot. I want to self-isolate. I play games. I sit in front of the computer screens. I have this layer of protection between me and others. When I run games that are play by post or text-based, it's very different because I have the time to think, to formulate what I'm going to do. And even then, I still feel, I think resentful is the wrong term, but I still feel kind of mad at myself for not being as good as I know I can be. Again, expectations put on myself by myself. No one else is expecting me to perform at a higher level. If they are, they would probably tell me. So I don't hold any ill will or frustration with other people about this matter. This is 100% myself. Also, perfect opportunity to mention that the song in the background is Sovereign by Kevin MacLeod. I will put the link in the description. There's a little couple of seconds where it fades out in the end. So that's why it's quiet right now. I'm listening to it while I'm talking. Anyway, let's get back on topic. So, when I was young, I'm talking like grade school, I was extremely shy with other people. And I can kind of pick this apart as much as I want to. I do know that I got told off a lot for having a very loud voice. I got told off for oversharing about my interests. I got told off for basically being, I was a know-it-all at a certain age. I stopped that very quickly. I wanted to use the expression that I got that beaten out of me, but I was never beaten, obviously. So it wasn't beaten out of me. But I learned fairly early not to talk too much about my interests in public or with other people, and with people who I didn't think would enjoy my stuff. I got kind of hypersensitive to sharing my interests with other people that were outside of my kind of small friend group. I had very few friends growing up, and I was pretty happy with that. Like I was happy having close friends. To me, friendship is something that develops over time. I have a lot of acquaintances. I don't have a lot of close friends, in my opinion. And I'm perfectly fine with that. And even now, like me and my wife, my lovely, amazing wife, we spend a lot of time apart in the apartment. We sit at our computers, we play our games, because that's the kind of people we are. But growing up, I vividly remember that every year in school we had presentations. We had to make a presentation and stand in front of the class and do this presentation, and I would always be so stressed out about this. But obviously I was so young that I didn't know how to process it, so I just overworked myself, and I remember like always feeling so emptied out when I did these presentations. And when I got older, that got kind of worse, until I was gonna start, I don't know if it's called high school, the equivalent gymnasiet, which is 16 to 18, which is not obligatory education, but you go there so you can apply to university or college later. And when I started college, let's call it college, I kind of decided that I wanted to reinvent myself. So I had a tendency to be kind of clowny when I wanted to. So I was kind of the asshole who was commenting on stuff happening in the classroom, like in a very observant but also kind of callous way. That was me in college. Not very proud of it. I was also kind of really harsh on myself and on others. I would always bring out like people's bad attributes, things like that. I was a pretty shitty person at that time. Luckily, I grew out of it. I was a misanthrope in a lot of ways. I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with the world around me. And I kind of took it out by being mean and rude and just kind of a loner type of person. You know, teenage stuff. Around that time, I was also doing a lot of role-playing with my friends. And I would constantly find myself being frustrated by either the level of roleplay. I always treasure what bleed. For me, game bleed has been a huge boon. When like it has allowed me to roleplay. When bleed, for those of you who don't know, bleed is when you kind of start mixing up yourself and your character a lot. It's not great because bad things happening to your character will then feel like it's happening to you, which is oftentimes a huge basis for why people get into conflicts over games, because they can't separate, or they have issues separating themselves from this character that they're playing. For me, it was great because it was kind of a cathartic way of dealing with a lot of stuff in my life in a sort of constructive, isolated environment where nobody was getting hurt. But I was getting frustrated. I couldn't run games I suffered from severe anxiety performance with most of my friends were older in my role-playing group, a couple of years older. One was 5-6 years older. I always felt like they had their shit together, but whenever I was gonna run a game, I would stumble over words, I would make dumb jokes, and I would kind of laugh at myself, and I would lose track of what I was talking about. And I had very high ambitions back then in terms of storytelling. I really wanted to tell these emotional, these heavy stories. I was so caught up with World of Darkness because it was like, this is the kind of game world that I like. Consequences, emotional drama, catharsis. Like, I've always been about that kind of stuff. I really love being exposed to emotions. I love crying to movies. I love crying in general. It's very good for you. So that's the kind of stuff I wanted to have. I should probably say that at that time I was also convinced. I don't know, I think it was 100% wrong, but I was convinced I was a sociopath. That's super weird to say, but I had a lot of trouble expressing my own emotions, and I actually had a lot of trouble even knowing if I had emotions, because a lot of times a lot of stuff just, and I think that was because of a wall that I built up more than, you know, me being neurodivergent. I just built up this wall in my mind of not getting excited about stuff. I was very pessimistic. I was very like realistic, and that colored a lot of my behavior. So for me, I hid my actual self, like but behind a wall of stoicism, and I don't care, and like snarky one-liners, and it took a long time for me to break down that wall. And it turns out that that wall was kind of protecting me from the real me, because I pretended that I didn't care about stuff, which meant that a lot of stuff that people said could just go fly off me. But whenever I got into discussion about things I liked and people disagreed with me or said I was wrong, I would get so angry. Not angry at them necessarily, but I would get like, I would stumble over my words. I wouldn't be able to properly communicate my opinions, and I would get like so frustrated. And that was like the real me behind the wall of don't care. So over time I became more and more like, I don't care about this stuff. I don't care about anything. And nothing matters to me, because if nothing mattered to me, then obviously I couldn't get annoyed if people didn't like my opinion. So, and a lot of times my opinions were not based on facts. They were very much based on emotions. And obviously if people were saying my emotions were wrong, I would take that as personal, as is natural. So this is how things progressed. I became an adult. I learned how to deal with people not agreeing with my opinion because I became a grade school teacher. You can learn to roll with it at that time. And even now, like when people don't agree with my opinions, especially on the Primogen channel, a lot of times I just shrug and laugh it off, you know. But sometimes it can bite. Not necessarily the Primogen. I don't think I've ever gotten a comment that made me really genuinely upset. And obviously I had BLM on my channel for quite a while. A lot of people didn't agree with that. If you're out there watching this video, I probably removed your comment because your comment wasn't contributing to anything. It was just inciting. You were just being mad. I don't want to have that stuff in my comment section. Yeah, I've removed comments. Sue me. It's my own channel. I do what I want. A lot of times it didn't really get to me because it's just a channel. It's just videos. Like people are in the right to have opinions. I was fully ready for the shitstorm to come following my W5 video where I talked about Werewolf and how they should change the game to make it better for me. A lot of people don't agree with that, but the majority of people who responded were actually quite positive, and I was happy to see that. I was happy to see that people actually thought I had some good points about Werewolf. And my friend Martin, who I should credit more, him and I would have these long walks where we would talk about Werewolf, and a lot of the ideas actually came out of that. Some of the ideas were his completely. I stole them. Sorry, Martin. Them's the breaks. Welcome to YouTube. But yeah, I'm happy people thought that was good. But to get on to the topic of storytelling, I don't think I've ever run a game in my life where after the game was done, I felt good about it. That's a huge, immediate, like 180 turn on the topic. But yeah, I've never felt good about running a game. Even though I've said like, yeah, great game, everyone. This was amazing. And because genuinely, I really appreciate my players when I run games. But when I run games, every single little mistake I make, every single little fuck up, or if I stumble over the words, or if I didn't convey the emotions properly of a scene, that kind of stuff just sticks with me. And I've tried to move past that. I mean, I'm that kind of person. I focus on the bad things. I'm currently wearing the t-shirt of a group I spent 3 years working on, and we did YouTube videos. It really didn't go anywhere, and I think that fucked me up because I had to go to therapy afterwards. And the therapist basically said you need to lower your expectations. Like, how do I do that? My immediate gut reaction was like, fuck no. I might be dead tomorrow. I'm not gonna lower my expectations. I'm gonna raise them. And I still believe firmly that I don't think I ever want to underperform. But the alternative to underperforming is not performing at all for me at the moment. And I think that's kind of where I'm starting to land. If you're one of my patrons, first of all, I love you. Thank you so much for being supportive and for understanding. Sometimes I've had dips in creativity. Like the first half of this year, 2021, has been a huge downer for me generally. I think it's a combination of quarantine finally getting to me after over a year, but also like generally I moved away from Vampire and was making content for other stuff. Turns out the other stuff was not quite as popular, so I was dipping in views. I kind of conflagrated, whatever you call that with my own performance, and I was subconsciously thinking I wasn't doing well, I wasn't making good videos. Although I have to say, like, critically looking at it, I wasn't making videos as good because I didn't know about these settings the way I knew about Vampire. I couldn't just shit out a video in a script in like 20 minutes and be done with it. It takes longer than that. I had to research things and I didn't have the time for that, so I kind of defaulted to being a very robotic retelling, in my view anyway, of these things. Like Wraith is a good example. I feel like my Wraith videos kind of lack soul because I don't understand the setting the way I understand Vampire, and I haven't had the time to research and sit down and actually get familiar with it, which is why I went back to Vampire. And obviously Vampire videos just exploded out the door. My how to play videos, spoiler, I didn't put a lot of time into those. I just went with my gut feelings a lot, and I did use the clan books to look at like clan relationships and stuff, but honestly those videos were like comfort food for me to make. It was easy. I got a lot of views, a lot of comments that made me feel good about things. And it really got me thinking about the games I run with my patrons. Like, if you're not aware of what I do, like every second week, theoretically at least, I do like a 3-hour seminar where I talk about everything from creating your own NPCs to running one-shots and things like that. And it's been really fun, but it's also been very taxing for me. Like, and I say it's been very taxing. I have been cutting down on my content, and I still feel it's very taxing. So I hope people don't think I'm using that as an excuse to like not make content. But I'm just getting tired, I guess. Real world stuff is happening. Work is happening. I haven't been able to go down in hours, and my workload has been increasing at work because of a new principal who wants to run things a little bit differently. I appreciate that. It gives me more control over my work situation, but it also demands more of me. But I'm not going to get into that stuff. But also, like, I've realized that for 2019 and 2020, I was devoting an ungodly amount of time to my channel. And I would very much like to credit the growth of my channel to that. I spent so much time writing scripts and reading and editing and uploading and interacting with the community. And I was doing a whole lot more with my patrons than what I'm doing right now. But I can't keep that steam up running. And that's why I kind of went back on these things. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure I want to keep running games for Patron either. And the reason for that is simply because even though it's just during the summer, and it's 5 games during the summer, and it shouldn't be much of an emotional load, it is. I get stress migraines. I can't sleep. I plan these games, and I'm on the edge of my seat the entire time. And once it's done, I feel no sense of accomplishment. I don't feel like I did something good. I just feel bad about every decision I made. I feel bad about not working enough before the games. It's essentially a negative emotional spiral for me. And I don't know how to stop caring. Like, just don't care about it. Like, I was having a conversation with a close friend recently about my charity stream, my 2-year anniversary stream, which I ran at 5 in the morning American time, playing a text-based role-playing game, and I was surprised that not an awful lot of people tuned in. Everything tells you that if you wake up at 6 in the morning and you see, oh, the Primogen is streaming a text-based game, I'll maybe catch the VOD later. You know, I don't blame anyone for not tuning in, and the people who did tune in, huge props to you. Thank you so much for dropping by, and thank you for the donations. But what I realized was that I was so focused on the numbers of the people watching, and I was so focused on how much money we were pulling into Doctors Without Borders, that I wasn't having fun. And I was talking to my friend, and my friend said, well, I never care about numbers. And bless her soul, I love this person so much, but at that point I just felt like, yeah, well, I do. I care about numbers. And I care, like, I have the kind of mind where a treadmill is the best form of exercise in my mind, because you can keep careful track of literally everything. You can keep track of your heartbeat, how many kilometers you run, the inclination, how many calories you've lost. Like, everything is there right in front of your eyes. This is the what do you call it? The Socratic ideal of exercise in my mind. So obviously YouTube having all these numbers available for me would be the ideal way of streaming, but it's not, because it obviously makes me very uncomfortable. So I've reached a couple of conclusions that at least my number one conclusion is I will probably not stream games on my channel like ever. At least not regularly. I might do another charity stream at my 1-year anniversary, because I love, you know, helping Doctors Without Borders out. But honestly, I'd rather not stream on my channel, because it is... I noticed first of all that the majority of my subscribers are not here to watch me play games, and that is 100% fair. But streaming a game is not just sitting down and turning on the stream and turning on the game for me. It's an emotional preparation. It's an emotionally exhausting thing. I literally can not do anything else that day. I mean, I get home from work, and then the stream. Even if the stream is 5 hours after my work, and it's a 2-hour stream, I can't think of anything else. Like, I can't create anything. I can't go out for a walk with a friend. The only thing that's on my mind is that stream that's going to be happening in a couple of hours, and that's not productive, and that's not healthy for me. So aside from a charity stream every now and then, don't expect me to stream games. I started up the Primogen Plays, streamed twice on that one. Just ignore that channel. And that's fine with me. Like, I don't feel bad about that. I know a couple of people who wanted to tune in to me talking about a game. I'll try to make review videos instead. Out for Blood came out recently. I'm gonna hopefully talk about that soon. But just the fact that, like, having streams hanging over me, I'm not that kind of channel. I'm not that kind of content creator. It really stresses me out just thinking about it, to be honest. In terms of running games, definitely not running any more actual plays on my channel. Even with great friends, it is just such a stressful thing for me. My mind can't handle that kind of stuff, and I have to, like, I'm the kind of person who will often go like, all right, well, I'll just do what I feel like doing. I'll just do what I feel like doing. That's the kind of lifestyle that I have. But I have to listen to my body and my mind for this. I can't change how my mind works. I can't reprogram my brain to not feel social anxiety and performance anxiety when I'm streaming. So that's just out the door. Running games for my patrons, like, even just these few games from the summer, like, they've been on my mind since December, when I said I'll run a couple of games in the summer. Every single time I interact with Patron or go to the Patron website, I don't know if the music is still playing. Oh, it is playing. Okay, good. It just stopped playing on my headphones. I wouldn't say every day, but at least once a week, I've thought about the games this summer, the one-shots that I was gonna run, and it's stifling my creativity because I'm just so anxious about it. And I feel really bad about it, because a lot of my patrons joined up because they wanted to play games with me. And a friend of mine recently said, like, isn't the point of Patreon to be a website where you support artists in what they do? It's not that simple, obviously. It's not a Kickstarter. It's not a GoFundMe. You're not paying for me to do a specific thing, and we'll hit that money goal, and then we'll get there. Boy, this is weird when the music's not playing, but OBS is telling me that the music is playing, so there you go. I feel like Patreon, I started out really strongly out the door. I was making like personalized letters. I was sealing them with wax stamps. I got one of the wax sticks here. I was making videos for characters. I was planning to run games. Like, I had all these things planned, and just one by one, I'm realizing, like, yeah, this is difficult. I guess difficult is the term I want to use. I still like making videos. People recommend, like, hey, do a video about drones. Do a video about Sasha Vigos. Well, I've done Sasha Vigos, but like, do a video about Horatio Ballard. That's coming, by the way. Ballard, not Bullard. Do a video about Sun. Like, great recommendations. And I mean, that helps me out. I don't have to pick a topic. My patrons help me out with that. But in terms of running a game, like, it just became like the actual physical work, like the note-taking, the planning, that stuff was fine. It was the emotional investment of me running the game, looking at 4 other people or their avatars and being like, all right, cool, I'm gonna tell you guys a vampire story. Like, big props to people like Jason Carl or Matthew Mercer, who can just sit down and do this in front of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, and just like that. I don't work that way. I'm not. I wanted to get into acting at one point, but man, I can't. It's too close to my heart. Like, I get too personally, emotionally involved. I can't do it as a profession. Voice acting, maybe, I don't know. Even like when I make some of my videos, like the Black Spiral Dancers videos, that was emotionally exhausted for me. I really acted out on that one. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, there's a high possibility that I might stop running games for patrons as well. And if you're one of my patrons watching and this comes as a shock to you, first of all, I'm really sorry. But second of all, like, I will make a better announcement over at my Patreon about these things. I really want to do the choose your own adventure kind of chronicle thing for my patrons anyway, which is something I promised to do at the beginning of this year. I still haven't gotten into it. I was gonna do Giovanni Chronicles, but I didn't, because it's a little bit limited in what I can do with it. Is the long and short of it. Also, it's at times not great, at least not the later books, in my opinion. But mostly I just want to tell a story where I'm in control and I can write a script and I can record it early. Like, that's easier for me. I can't sit in front of a camera and improvise or talk to people live. And because I'm constantly wondering, like, what's happening in their head, are they happy? I'm seeing little gauges moving up and down, like satisfaction gauge. And the worst part is, of course, also that these satisfaction gauges are connected to money, because I'm getting money from Patreon. And that is a subconscious thing as well. I'm like, oh, cool. So if this person's not going to be happy enough, they'll cancel their Patreon subscription. Yeah, okay, they might. Honestly, cards on the table. Tomorrow, I might have $5 in my Patreon to my name, and that's just how Patreon works. Or I might have more. I don't know. But I need to be transparent and honest with my patrons, and I've always strived to be as transparent as I can be. But most of you have probably noticed that I haven't communicated a lot lately. I haven't been like very responsive on the Discord. I've tried to be more engaging with people on my Discord, but I'm also like I'm not much of a community person. Like, part of this anxiety is that I am very selective about whom I make friends with. And that's not like me going, oh, this person's not great, I don't want to be friends with them. It's more like, will this person accept the fact that I might not communicate them with them for 2 weeks and be fine with that? And most of my friends are fine with that. Like they've learned how I work, and that's how I am. I I'm a very unpredictable person in terms of like how my mood is. I can get hyper focused on something and then completely lose interest 2 weeks later. I would say the Primogen is probably the channel, the longest project I've had running with the same kind of theme is the Primogen. And I chalked that up a lot to personal pressure. I put on myself, I need to make more videos because people like my videos and I like people liking my stuff. And I also like to do these videos because they allow me to write and to narrate. And I've always wanted to write a book. God, I'm really jumping from topic to topic here, aren't I? I've always wanted to write a book, but I've never had the stamina or focus to write longer than a couple of thousand words, which is exactly the length of my videos. My scripts are 2,000 words roughly. And therefore, this is perfect. I can write a short story about a topic for 2,000 words, and then I'm done with it. So I like to make these. There will be a video very soon, next week, I believe, about Planescape Torment. I'm just gonna throw that out here because I also like Planescape Torment, and I've been looking at other stuff to make videos about, and I figured I could break into Dungeons and Dragons. I always bash Dungeons and Dragons anyway, so might as well talk about it. And I'm gonna talk about like my absolute favorite setting, which is Planescape. Planescape Torment is one of my top favorite games of all time, but I'm getting really off track. So basically what this means is don't expect to see any actual play videos where I'm running a game. Like there's gonna be a second season of Huddy's game, Blood on the Grand Strand. I'm playing Anthony. I was gonna say Timothy. Anthony Tulip there, Tony Tulip. Even that is extremely demanding on me. Like I'm playing also a guy who's very different from who I am as a person, which is. I talked about Bleed earlier, like that I like Bleed. Man, it's rough being Anthony. He's a difficult person to play. But even that is so emotionally exhaustive for me that it's just a sign that I'm not meant for storytelling games, which sucks because I think I'm pretty okay at it. I think I'm pretty okay objectively. I do an okay job. I'm not nowhere near as good as a lot of the people I watch, but that's okay. But it's just like, it's not in the cards for me. And teaching is the full extent of what I can muster per week. And running a couple of games with close friends where we know each other, they know me, they know that if I'm not feeling great, if I'm not like 100% there, we'll have a bathhouse episode. People sit around doing truth or dare games with each other characters. That's fine in those kind of games. They know, they can read me and they'll be like, all right, cool, Chris is not 100% here right now. He's tired, he's had a rough week. We'll play something, we'll do something kind of, silly and one-shotty. But I feel an obligation to my patrons, and that obligation also includes being honest about this. So I've been mentioning maybe running more one-shots to a couple of my patrons. I'm gonna have to say that chances are there won't be any more one-shots, and I fully understand. 100%. I fully understand if you want to lower or even cancel your patrons thing over this, because that's what I was selling my Patreon under. Like, if we hit this much money, I'll start running games in Stockholm. We hit that much money, I started running games in Stockholm. Now we don't. So clearly, if that's, if that's what you wanted and you're not getting it, you're a consumer. I totally understand that your amount of money, the amount of money you have to work with, could go to other things that might bring you more enjoyment. So don't worry about me. I 100% really appreciate your support. It has allowed me to buy a whole lot of books that I've been able to use as reference. It's allowed me to get better equipment for recording. It's allowed me to get sound effects, to buy music, to improve my channel in general, and also, of course, getting better equipment. I said that already, but basically it's been going to great things. I have been using the money for that stuff. I'm also now, I've mentioned I have an editor. editor, great person, a close friend of mine who's helped me edit the videos, which will make me be able to produce more content. So in the near future, hopefully there will be 2 videos a week, not just 1, which is how it used to be. I did the Who's Who, which was much more off the cuff, shorter videos about vampire characters. I'm gonna try to do Planescape and World of Darkness videos like simultaneously. We'll see. I don't want to make any promises. But yeah, like basically I'm able to do these things thanks to Patreon money. And you might have also noticed that I put ads in my videos now. That's also to get just a little bit more so I can justify myself paying an editor to help me with these things. Recording is fine, editing music is fine, editing videos, I'm not very good at it. It takes a long time, and I literally can't do anything else, and my hyper-focused brain just goes, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. So I keep pausing and doing something else and then going back to editing. Not a great practice. So if someone who's good with movies and videos and who knows how to edit, it's perfect. Perfect addition to the crew. Thank you so much for offering to help me with editing videos and for doing it. I feel like I'm kind of getting to the end of this video right now. So I feel like I've opened up a lot about myself, and I hope this doesn't come off as like trying to explain something away or be like, I don't want to do things, because I legitimately really have had a great time running games. Like, I will never forget Littlebrook, I will never forget Chicago Stories, and I certainly will not forget Stockholm by Night, which just went full on balls to the walls crazy. Had a great time running these games, but it's just, I'm really sorry that I can't run more games, and I hope you can forgive me, but it is so taxing on my mental health to do it. It is, I can't deal with the anxiety that it comes with, and I have bottled it up. I've tried to, push it down. I've tried to rationalize it. I've gone to therapy about it. I've tried to distract myself. I've even tried to be drunk while doing it. You probably didn't notice I wasn't very drunk. But obviously you shouldn't do that. That's a bad thing. You shouldn't be drunk while doing anything. You shouldn't use alcohol as a means to deal with things. So I don't. But nothing has helped me deal with that anxiety. So the best thing I can do is not to do it. And I hope you understand it just the way that I understand that if you don't want to support my channel because you don't get to play games anymore, that's a really mean way of putting it, sorry, but if you'd rather your money went to something else that gives you more enjoyment or more bang for your buck, I 100% understand that. If you're not my patron, obviously this conversation is like, it doesn't matter to you, but I'm basically, every time I've tried to restructure my patron, I've gone like, oh, but I'll do this instead. And maybe the problem hasn't been I've been doing this, maybe the problem is I've been doing stuff over what I usually do for my channel, and just my body, I'm 35, I feel the wheels of time turning. I just get so tired and out of energy and like uncreative, I guess. So I really want to focus on the content on my channel. If that's at the expense of the Patreon money I make, so be it. It was a great time while it lasted. I will always appreciate every single one of you, every single one who's ever donated or given money to me in any way, shape, or form. Just know that I am super excited about it. I've never gotten angry at anyone who stopped being a patron of mine, because that would be weird. That would be like the guy down at the shop being like, oh, you haven't bought groceries from me in a month, huh? I see you hate me. Like, that's not how it works. I provided a service, people paid for it. If they don't pay for it anymore, no hard feelings. Especially when the service has changed. Yeah, we stopped selling your favorite chips, so you stopped coming, but I guess it's because you hate me. But yeah, God, this is a 40-minute long video. I'm not even gonna edit this down. I'll just put it on YouTube as it is, because I feel like I really wanted to get this off my chest. And honestly, this is take 3. I did like 5 minutes each before, and then I realized my audio was funky. But I just want to say thank you, everyone. It's been over 2 years since this channel started. And we hit 10,000 subscribers, right? 2 days before the 2-year anniversary. And we've gotten over 1 million views, which is insane. I sound like a Kickstarter guy. It's insane, but it is crazy, especially since when I started out, I was like a couple of thousand followers maybe, or subscribers, maybe a couple of thousand views. You know what? There's one more thing I want to talk about before I quit this video, and that is very closely related to my channel. I should probably, like, I'm not gonna lie, when I hit 10,000 subscribers, which is a bizarre amount of subscribers, and I say numbers matter to me a lot. Again, however, that sense of achievement, the sense of satisfaction, of pride, not there. I don't know if I'm broken. I don't know if I actually don't care about numbers and I just pretend like I have to care about numbers. I had a hamburger. that was my celebration, and then I went, all right, back to work. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm broken. I don't know why I can't find satisfaction in things. Very few times that I've ever felt super proud of an achievement, and I always consistently compare myself to other things. I set down 2 goals. This is the first time I think that I'm sharing this publicly. I set out 2 goals when I created the Primogen, and those 2 goals were I would love to play a game with the gentleman gamer, or at least get to talk to him, Matthew Dawkins. That happened very quickly. I played in a one-shot Dungeons and Dragons game they released for Onyx Path. It was a lot of fun. He's a great guy, Dawkins. I love him. Huge shout outs to the Onyx Path, and I'll just use this little opportunity to say I'm still pretty miffed that the Onyx Path is, as far as I know, not making any more World of Darkness content. I think they did a good job. Cults of the Blood Gods and Chicago by Night, great books. And their extra books as well, like Streets Run Red and things like that. Great stuff. My other goal was to play a game with Jason Carl. I haven't done that yet. I've never even spoken to the guy, but he liked my first video, which was actually why I kept making videos. He liked it on Facebook, which was this. Actually, that was one time I felt a huge sense of accomplishment. This is true. But Jason Carl is a busy man, and I look up to him a lot. It's actually thanks to LA by Night that I started making my lore videos. LA by Night and Jordan the PH is Silent are both the 2 sources of inspirations for me starting to make my videos. And now I feel kind of like an asshole for getting to D&D, because that's his shtick, Jordan. But I feel like he didn't cover the planes quite the way I wanted to cover them. So my Planescape video is going to be a lot better than yours, Jordan. You'll see. I've got a professional on my side who knows Planescape like the back of their hand. So they're going to help me out with some of the lore. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to working with Planescape. It's a great setting. It covers a lot of topics that's very close to my heart. Philosophy, especially. Philosophy, morality, that kind of stuff I have always had a huge soft spot for. But what I wanted to say with this is that my 2 goals, one of them has been achieved. I'm very happy about that. The other goal might happen at some point or another. Who knows? Jason Carl, give me a call. I'd love to guest star on LA by Night. No, seriously though. I think I might need to start setting goals for myself more often. I was listening to a podcast recently, one of my favorite content creators, a guilty pleasure is Oni Plays, and Zach Hadel, the guy who made Smiling Friends. Everything put aside, Zach Hadel and I have very, very similar mentalities in terms of creating content. He was talking about it on, I don't recall the podcast. I'll link it in the description if I remember. But he was talking about like how we're a goal-oriented species. I don't agree with this, because I think a lot of people can get by without setting goals for themselves. Like, I don't think there's any intrinsic value in having goals set out for yourself. I think they're good. They help you focus. But I think a lot of people are more than happy just living their lives. And I don't want to make any judgment calls on the way people live their lives. I am a positive nihilist. I believe that as long as you're happy, that's what's important. With the added clause that as long as you're not hurting other people, at least to the best of your knowledge, try to be cool to others and live your life the way you want to live it. But for me, I think it really resonated the fact that he was talking about getting stuck in a creative rut. He was talking about wanting to grow as a creator. wanting to not be known as the guy who does, which is kind of what I've become in a little bit. Like, I make my lore videos once a week. People know what kind of content I'm gonna deliver. I really don't know how to get out of that shell, because I don't feel like I have a lot of skills. I've been going through my mind, like, what am I actually good at? And it turns out I'm pretty okay at a couple of stuff, but I'm not really good at one particular thing. I'm not good at improv. When I say good, I mean, like, I could do it for a living, right? Like, I'm not good at improv. I'm not good at playing an instrument. I'm not good at acting. And by golly, I might be good at storytelling, but that shit's not gonna work for me. So throw that one out the window. And I do work as a teacher, and I like working as a teacher, so it's not something I want to quit doing. So for me, it was just like basically going, all right, so I'll get into Planescape, I guess. And I'm also gonna try to do more like narrative stuff on YouTube. A long time ago, I asked people if they wanted to listen to vampire ASMR. That was jokingly put in there. Not a lot of people were interested, but I would love to tell like short stories set in the vampire universe and the Well of Darkness universe. Because I feel like it's such a great setting. It's like a comic setting, like DC Marvel kind of place in terms of having a very specific mood for it. So that's something I might want to try doing later once I have more time, more energy for it. But basically, I want to keep reinventing myself as a content creator. I gotta set goals, but I'm also like, I'm not a goal setting person. I do whatever I feel like doing, and when I don't want to do it anymore, I stop doing it, which only becomes a problem when people are depending on me. That's why a lot of times, for example, with the Patron games, even though people obviously just tune in to have fun, for me it becomes an obligation to make sure that they have fun. And I think that's fundamentally a broken way of looking at it. Can't help it, that's just how my brain works. Making excuses for myself. But that's probably why I can't truly enjoy the game. Because I think also, to do those kind of things, you need to like being the center of attention. I guess that's kind of what it boils down to, right? If you want to run a game for your friends or your players, you want to make sure that they're having a good time. You want to tell a good story. You want to contribute to a great time, and in my sense, that would be a high quality story, good storytelling, push myself to the full extent of what I can do, and that's not compatible with my mental health, because there's just a discrepancy in how good I am and how good I think I should be doing, and no amount of therapy has been able to solve that so far. I'm very open about it. If you can get therapy, get therapy. Even if you don't think you have anything to work with, I'm sure there's something. And it's just great talking to people. Like I'm talking to you, my viewers, who are currently working as my therapist. Thanks for listening to me for almost an hour. My God, this video turned out really long. This has really had to vent this stuff. If you've watched this far, actually, screw the people who haven't watched this far. Who cares about them? But if you watched this far, thank you so much. Thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers and 1 million views in 2 years. Oh, wow. Now it actually hit me. I've been getting so many nice comments. I read all of them. I can't respond to them anymore because I feel like every response I make is so cookie cutter and shitty. Because it's always like, thanks, I really appreciate it, or thanks, or thank you. But I really didn't think I would be doing this 2 years later, with people tuning in to say, wow, you're a great storyteller, or this was really good, or thank you, I learned a lot, or thank you, this is my favorite clan and you did them justice. Like, reading that kind of stuff should matter to me a lot more than it does. I think it matters to me, but my brain just goes, they're lying. They're buttering you up. You're a fraud. You're a fake. You don't know anything. These people do better videos than you. That's a common thought in the back of my head. But it do, like, here comes that wall again, you know, the wall. It's not, I don't care about the content I make. So people say nice things, I don't care, because I don't even care about this stuff. I do care. I do care a lot. I'm just really bad at showing it. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and for tuning in. And thank you for watching. Thank you for not having ad block on so I get some revenue in this capitalist society. Don't make me turn on mid-video ads. Get even more money. I'm not gonna do that. I even feel bad about having ads, to be honest, but I like that Google money. Thank you for supporting me, for being understanding when videos don't come out in time. A huge extra thank you to all my patrons who actually go out of your way to give me money monthly for an increasingly less return. Man. The fact that you're still around and supporting me means a lot to me. I do appreciate it. And as someone who has occasionally been like twisting and turning every single dollar I've had, or I don't have dollars, I have crowns, but thinking what I'm gonna do with this money, like for a long period when I was studying, I was living on a shoestring budget, which is why I didn't have any role-playing game books, because that was out of the question. They were super expensive. It's amazing that I've been able to get, like, I might have been overcompensating in buying books because I never had them, but like I'm looking at the bookshelf I have right now. I wish I could. I have green screen on, so it's like, I mean, it's vampire, right? So everything is just gonna be invisible. But I'm looking at these like physical manifestations of Patreon cash that's got turned into books that I'm reading and enjoying, and I'm like, thank you for buying me these books and for supporting me and for helping me make this content. I don't know if I will still be doing stuff July 11th, 2022. Going back to work soon. We're going to be back at the office, which I actually think is going to help my productivity quite a lot. I hope. Can't play Minecraft at work, so I got to do something there, right? Yeah, it's an amazing time to be alive. It's an amazing time to be the Primogen. And I haven't even talked about my hopes for World of Darkness stuff. Like, I'm looking forward to the Sabbath book. That's all I can say on that matter. I'm looking forward to Bloodlines 2. That's all I can say on that matter. I'm looking forward to all the cool content that's going to come. Blood Hunt is turning out to be way more popular than I think anyone could have expected, and I think it's going to be a great game when it comes out as well, from what I've seen and played of it so far. I gotta give you guys some kind of content at the end of the video, right? I gotta give you some kind of cool commentary, some professional observations on the industry. So here you go. Fria Ligan, Free League. Their thing is they're releasing experience packages, right? Because people these days don't have time to read. They don't have time to reach Mage the Ascension M20. You're not gonna pull in new players with a 680-page book detailing the universe that you created. Ain't nobody got time for that anymore. If you want to get new players, you gotta either have like an IP that's very popular, that's appealing to your nostalgia, or you gotta have like Murkbori, which is this thick, and it's all about like the mood of the setting. It's not about the setting itself. It's not about like the meta plot of a world that's been in existence for 30 years. Nobody has time to learn that stuff. That's why people tune into my channel to watch lore videos, because nobody's got time to read 600 pages of lore to figure out what Sasha Vikos' deal is. So you want to sell a game that's light on the lore and heavy on the mood. You want to sell pre-packaged experiences, because nobody's going to play Alien, the role-playing game, for more than 4 sessions and then they're done with that game. That's how it works these days. That's why That's why people stopped buying books in the quantity they did. That's why you want to sell like adventure seeds and smaller adventures instead of like 2 or 3 books full of adventures, because only a very small crowd of people are going to buy that. People who buy these books are people who are already fans from way before. If you want to appeal to new people, you gotta catch them with something snappy, quick, and easy. That's what you gotta do. That's what 3 League is doing. I think they're selling pretty well. That's why White Wolf, hire me. Let's make War of the Roses the Masquerade. Let's make 1720s pirate vampire role-playing games. Let's make setting books. Hire me. I've got ideas. Here's my number. Anyway, take care, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this video. And be careful out there, because Gehenna will soon be upon us.